basis here today. This is great. There is a sheet circulated around, I can put you in the L closet about the technology in all the different classrooms. So if you happen to be in a classroom that has a smart board, you're going to run this on the smart board as a DVD. We also have a VHS copy of this, only 5 minutes, but it's a really good intro. And then, so depending on what technology is in your classroom, use a DVD or a VHS. And just check with your teacher. And this way of doing it is the most complicated way of doing it. So most teachers either have a VHS or a DVD right.
If you go out and then down the hall past the atrium, it's one of the first rooms on your left.
Even to a casual observer, a walk through many stands of goldenrod can reveal unusual growth in many plants. These swellings are called galls. Galls are often present on the buds, stems, and leaves of other plants such as oaks, and may assume many different forms. But what are they? Galls are indeed plant tissue, but this plant tissue does not serve to help the plant in its growth or reproduction. The plant has been induced to grow this tissue to provide food and shelter for an insect that lives inside. We will look specifically at the ball gall that frequently forms on the stems of the goldenrod species Solidago altissima, commonly known as tall goldenrod. These ball galls are distinct from 2 other types of galls also seen in goldenrods, the bunch gall and the spindle gall. All 3 of these goldenrod galls are formed by insects. In early spring, stems of tall goldenrod begin to emerge from the ground. Young stems are well established by May when they are discovered by male and female gallflies of the species Eurosta solidaceus, commonly referred to as the goldenrod ball gallfly or simply the gallfly. About the size of a small housefly, the gallfly itself typically goes unnoticed. A newly emerged male searches out young stems of tall goldenrod. Then he courts females with flicks of his wings and side-to-side bobbing of his body. The females, who emerge slightly later on average, also go in search of tall goldenrod. There they find the males and choose one or more to mate with. Although she has over 100 species of goldenrod to choose from, our tiny gallfly is very selective. In most of the eastern United States, females select tall goldenrod exclusively over several similar-looking species such as Solidago gigantea or lake goldenrod. Upon finding a suitable host plant, she inserts her ovipositor into the terminal bud of the plant and injects an egg. So females respond to clues on the surface of the plant, but females also use clues from within the plant when they inject their eggs. Over the remainder of her lifespan of several days to 2 weeks, the female gallfly might lay 100 eggs distributed among many other tall goldenrods. Within 4 to 7 days, the egg develops into a grub-like larva. The larva bores into the stem and sets up housekeeping at the base of the stem's bud. In response to the larva's presence and its secretions, the plant tissues grow and enlarge, eventually producing a round swelling about the diameter of a quarter halfway up the stem. This growth of plant tissue is referred to as a gall. The gall reaches its maximum size by mid-July. While the gall's exterior becomes a tough, hard, protective covering, its interior tissue is a nutritious, protein-rich food source for the growing larva. The larva's feeding creates a central chamber. The plant replaces the chamber's inner tissue in response to the feeding of the larva until mid-September. Then, in preparation for its exit in the coming spring, the full-grown larva excavates a passageway through the gall tissue to the outer wall. Leaving the wall intact, it returns to the inner chamber for the winter. Altogether, the immature insect lives within the gall for about 50 weeks, as a larva through the summer, autumn, and winter, as a pupa in March and April. The larva, however, not only acquires a food source, it is also sheltered from the elements, but not always from predators. From their homes in nearby woodlands, downy woodpeckers and black-capped chickadees search for galls that might harbor a meal. In May, this insect's metamorphosis concludes as the pupa becomes an adult fly. Still within the gall, the fly has an instinctive urge to escape. Its ability to do so hinges upon its effort of 6 months ago. That is, how well as a larva the insect prepared its exit tunnel. For those that did so properly, escape is no big deal, just a quick and easy out.
That's it. I'll leave you wondering what happens to the ones who didn't make it easy.
I know.
Squeeze out. So yes, Amy introduced herself. She's Amy White. I'm Carrie Savage. We have Emmy. And a quick little refresher on what we do on an ELF day is we set up for about 15 minutes. And we do about a 15-minute introduction. It says so right on the top of your outline here in case you really want to follow along. Then there's 4 centers typically if we have enough parent volunteers, which hopefully you all do. And those are 20 minutes each or 15 depending on the time and what the teacher has after ELF. It seems like ELF always runs over, but so 15 or 20 minutes and the kids rotate. So as a parent, you only have to know and be an expert at one center, not all of them, unless you're, you know, like Amy and I and Emmy who know it all. That's the back of our hands. So that sets up the class day, and then we have a few minutes to clean up and put away materials. We want to be especially careful this time. We always want to be careful, but you know the boxes are getting more and more disorganized as the class sessions go. We have 20 classes, so please just be in charge of your own box. Make sure everything gets back in there. If there's envelopes in, try and put everything back in the envelopes just to keep it organized for the next group. Because not everybody's our training, obviously, so they need to be able to find their stuff. I'll pass around the calendar. If you want to jot down the class day that you're at, most of you probably have. I've sent you the updates, but 3rd grade had a little shake-up with didn't sleep, so 3rd grade spend extra attention with that. So we watched the video. You can use that again for introduction or conclusion. We also have a fabulous puppet show. It's pretty short. In our little envelope, we have the scripts and each of the puppets. We've got the Woody Woodchuck, the Raspberry Knot Gall, the Goldenrod Gall, which you're all very familiar with now after that informative video. The Oak Apple Gall, they're labeled. And finally, the Willow Pine Cone. So this puppet show is mostly about how the galls form, why they form, and what animals might use them for. The woodchuck's going around, he wants to eat them, and he wants to eat the oak apple. And the oak apple's like, I'm not an apple, I'm a gall, and I've got a baby in there, and they talk about babysitting and all this. So it's quite exciting. So the stage is downstairs. For those of you new, hopefully you've got a lot of experienced parents here with you to show you where everything is on your ELF day. But there's a fancy purple stage down there that's all decked out for your use.
And the older kids, like 3rd grade and above, they kind of, if they're pretty good readers, they like doing the puppet show themselves.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So this one has 5.
You can even maybe copy up the script for them a couple days ahead of time so they can practice in their classroom. And that's all good too.
That's a great option. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have more introduction stuff you want to go through?
Yeah, it's always good to go through some of these opening questions with them, but just don't spend too much time because then you're rushing through all the centers. Just a few opening questions is good. And then before we get completely started and everything, I wanted to tell you guys about something really cool that happened at Mitchell. I don't know if you remember Shauna Crocker that came in from Project Learning Tree a couple times back. She asked us, we're the only school in Colorado that was asked to do this. This is for the 2011 International Year of Forests. And it's something that the UN sponsors to draw attention to forests around the world. And every year they pick a different environmental topic, and this year it's forests. So every state was asked to make a forest exchange box. And then we will be sending this tomorrow there's gonna be a big presentation here in the gym, and the state forester will be here, some media and stuff like that, and the kids will be presenting this to the state forester. And then, so the whole 4th grade participated in this project. So we have a picture of them in the back. Jeff Warner took this picture. And then they just put stuff in there. There's all kinds of reports and all kinds of forest products in here. And then this will be shipped off to the UN to be on display there. So it's gonna be kind of cool.
Very cool. And Amy pretty much headed that up herself, so.
I didn't like advertise it to the parents and stuff because it's just gonna be kind of a quick in and out, but it will be, supposedly the hub is gonna do a cover story by next week.
Is the whole school going to that assembly or just 4th grade?
No, it's just 4th grade.
Yeah, so it's 4th grade.
Yep, because they're the one that made talks.
9 a.m. Right, 9 a.m.?
It'll be, yeah, if you guys wanna come, if you have a 4th grader, it'll be right around 9 a.m. when they get out of specials. So, but I think there's a PTA meeting going on at the same time.
Yep.
So, can stop and come watch and come back.
We'll make it even longer. Like usual in our LM, we have little helpful tips and stuff. It's the opening questions have answers, but to me, the most interesting one is how did insects survive winter? It's the biggest paragraph. And we studied migration and camouflage. We studied a few years back, so it kind of talks about migration and communal living. Torpor, which is a temporary state of sleep, and diapause, which is a long-term state of sleep. So kids might wonder, like in Colorado especially, what happens to their bugs at this time of the year when it's so freezing cold? Lisa?
I have these questions, so I know the 4th graders will know too. They're smarter than me. But is torpor the same as hibernation?
No.
Okay. Hibernation is just only for salmons. Yeah. The torpor is a similar state.
I think for 4th grade, for younger kids, I don't know how to explain it any differently, but it's different. Torpor, I think torpor and diapause, both of them, they have the antifreeze, and insects have antifreeze, so their liquids don't freeze. And warm-blooded mammals just lower their body temperature so much to the state of rest and hibernation. So they're different, but I don't know how you explain it to 4th graders.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Look at you, that was actually really impressive.
I don't know.
So we'll move on to Center 1.